Annyeong and welcome to Hallyujuku, starring Brandon Cooper and myself, PD Rave. This is episode 61, The Vicious Cycle. Enjoy! Buenos nachos, amigos, and welcome to another fantabulous episode of Hallyujuku. I'm PD Rave, your man with no plan. Here with me is my tag team partner, my friend Brandon Cooper, aka King Kaz. How you doing, Kaz?
Hello, bienvenue. I tried to think of other ones and I couldn't. Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
It's another fine episode of the podcast that we do called Hallyujuku. How you doing, folks?
We're gathered here to talk about East Asian pop culture once again. And of course, how we begin every episode, we talk about what's new. Kaz, what's new?
What's you know what? Let's do what's really new. What's really new is we waited like an hour for a video to drop that didn't really drop. And then we found out that it wasn't going to have anyone in it that we gave a fuck about. So we said, no one gives a fuck.
And we'll talk about that shortly in the headlines a little bit. But
other than that, usually you're the person who goes, hey, I'm going to bring like drama talk and talk about new dramas and all that stuff. But this time you're still going to do that, but I'm going to do it as well. There's a couple of dramas that are coming out that I'm pretty excited about, and one of them that I wanted to talk about was The Technicians, which will be premiering on Drama Fever, starring the dude from Airs. No, not that dude, the other dude.
Yeah, Kim Hyun Joong, in his feature film that was released in Korea last year. It's going to come to Drama Fever on March 7th for all of us internationally to see with subtitles and whatnot. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be cool. It's an interesting premise. It's like, it's the classic just kind of like, con man thing. In fact, it's the original Korean name is The Con Artist. So it's going to be cool to see kind of Kim Woo Bin acting cool. Kind of like how we saw him in that episode Running Man.
Yeah. Maybe he won't be as clueless though.
Yeah.
Took him a little while to catch on.
Yeah, but he pulled it out at the end. He looked like a badass at the end with his like I'm the spy and shit, like boom boom. But yeah. What else? What else you got going on that you're excited about?
So, that's pretty much it on the acting side. Other than that, it's all music. And a not all hip hop version of music this time for me. So I got one song by Uji from Bestie, featuring the Channels, which I have no idea what the Channels is. So if you're a fan of the Channels, yeah, that's what I'm going to assume. But if you're a fan of the Channels, I'm sorry that I don't know what the Channels is, but I thought this was a really, 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 really cute Aegyo song. Like, I don't know what to call it.
Like a little cute love song. A little puppy love song. Like, it's Yuji of Bestie. One of the original members of EXID. One of the three members of Bestie who were originally in EXID before, well, a lot of poop hit the fan. But yeah, it was a cute song. It's a cute little love song. It's that standard we're in the studio recording kind of a music video, but it's kind of a standard for a reason. It's an easy thing to do. It's an easy video to make,
I don't know. Because we've seen a few of these recently, right? Like, especially like now, like teasers are released with this in the studio footage too, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes. And I don't know if I like that or if I hate it. Like, I legitimately am on the fence with a video that is in the studio. of you making the song, but you're singing the song, and it's the finished song, but I'm watching you make the song. What? Crazy, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm like legitimately on the fence. Like, I'm between like wanting to stab someone and wanting to hug someone. Like, it's really like a hard line that I'm toting right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So it could go either way with stuff like that, but it's understandable. But moving on, what else you got for us? Some more Korean hip hop, I believe.
Well, you don't have to call me out, but yeah, no, I do. Featuring one of the guys from Show Me the Money, which I'm super glad that I mean, because initially Bobby was one of the guys kind of getting a lot of push after Show Me the Money, and partially because he's part of YG, and you know, because he won Show Me the Money, so he used that to kind of further himself as well. But a lot of the other good rappers, Vasco, who else put out something? Iron has put out some stuff. Gilly Boy has put out some stuff. And now Otelli, which you had to ask me a few times how it was pronounced, is starting to put out some songs. And Otelli was one of the guys who kind of grew on me throughout that show. And I really like some of his stuff. And he does a lot of this kind of weird schoolboy, like, styled stuff, and this one is called Graduation, and I thought it was like a really fun like nod to your high school years and your formative years of school, which he always seems to want to talk about, and always kind of seems to be a theme and element of his music.
And there's a nice little song for all the people graduating right now in Korea. I know that there was an announcement of people graduating college at least, and I imagine graduating high school as well. So that's exciting for them. Give them their song, and preferably better than that dumb Vitamin C song that we had in like the late '90s, or the like, because that song was dumb. But this song's nice. This song is cool. And it's a cool video, and it has It invokes that feeling of like saying, "Oh, we're graduating." It's really cool. But lastly, last but not least,
I definitely got that feel as well. All right, so lastly, I kind of put this in here because everything else I found I didn't like. Not to say that I thought this was the greatest thing in the world, but VIX is slowly kind of growing on me a little bit. So VIX. Like, there's really no other way I can introduce that. It's fucking VIX. I don't give a fuck at the end of the day, but it's VIX. So I think if I mention VIX, our viewership goes up by like 3.
Yeah. So VIX is love equation, or Ibyor Konsik. Ibyor Konsik. The love equation. It's different though. So this is different from what we've seen from VIX recently. What we know of VIX is the like dark, supernatural stuff, the dark menacing songs, the brooding songs, and then suddenly it's this very cute, upbeat, ego-filled love song. Some people kind of equating it to like more old school K-pop style. More along the lines of the HOT era, stuff like that, which is understandable, and it's like it's VIX, and I know them fangirls, their fandom is really like, hey, this is finally the song that's gonna break them through, yay! They're like, okay, cool. Here's your song. It's a good okay song. It's not my style. It's an okay song, but it's not my style. Cause like, I'm not.
Yeah, it was one of those things like
cute boys.
I clicked on it and then I watched it and then I was like, "Is that VIX?" Like, it was like, did VIX change? Like, and I was like, "No, this is VIX."
It's just like, I know that guy, and he was on Big Beyond, and I know the other guy who was in Big Beyond.
Yeah, but it's very like like you said, it's very different than what you're normally what we normally know of VIX.
Yeah.
This may be something that's kind of never usually friendly promoted by them, but maybe in their catalog. But it's just one of those things that I'm not very familiar with from them. But yeah,
it'll do well, and their fandom will love it.
Of course. It's already sold 12 copies. Yes. 12. I mean, a lot of copies.
12 million copies.
Yeah, 12 billion copies.
It's already sold like 12 million copies to like 300 people.
Yeah,
because that's why, and that's how fandoms work. If you understand.
Well, we love the VIX fans. The VIX fans are amazing. Moving on.
Yeah, it's still a cool song. But moving on, I have a couple of cool things. First, a couple of dramas that caught my attention, specifically cable dramas, which is interesting. A couple of cable dramas, one on one on JTBC, and one on NBC Everyone or NBC Drama, which is one of their like cable iterations. The NBC's is like cable channels, kind of like ABC Family or whatever. First off, on JTBC, is a show that caught my attention. It's actually fun. It turned out a really fun comedy. It's a show that on its face seems like it has a silly premise, which it does, but it works well and it's funny. And that is Detectives of Sonam Girls High School. The premise of the show is that these girls, there's this school, Sonam Girls High School, and then these group of girls decide to have a detectives club.
Is this like fucking Babysitter's Club?
Yeah, except that they're detectives club, and they solve
Babysitter's Club. Like, even though it was a club of girls who babysit, it ended up being like hold on, now I gotta fucking Google fucking Babysitter's Club.
Well, and here's they describe it pretty well. There are a lot of dark secrets at Sonam Girls High School, but nothing is too difficult to solve for the school's Sherlockian group of private investigators. Mentored by their teacher Hyun Joong. He doesn't really mentor them that well, but these beautiful and intelligent sleuths, An Chae-yul, Lee-hee, Yoon Mi-do, Kim Ha-jae, and Choi Hyun-yoon, use investigatory finesse to solve hot-button cases, including abortion, bullying, and suicide. So the main character, An Chae-yul, this is one of those situations where she's like, she gets rooked into being into the detectives club, and they decide to, she slowly starts being won over by them. And they actually do solve, it's kind of a monster of the week, style. Though the cases do sometimes span 2 weeks, but, it is kind of it's very episodic, kind of go from case to case, and they do touch on hot button issues like bullying, attempted suicide, abortions, and things like that. Living up to your parents' expectations. It does well. It does those kind of things, but it's actually pretty fun and funny. They do it with a lot of humor and a lot of silly humor. This is also the show that is starring Hyeri from Girls' Day. And they have a lot of fun because, especially early, the episodes they did, like, the cold opens would be just like a skit. Like, one of them would be like a little commercial for the one character's parents' chicken store. And then one of the ones in between was a press conference with Hyeri going, I've heard a lot of rumors about my acting and people saying about my acting. Well, one day my acting will improve. And she runs off, and it just kind of becomes a funny skit. It is a fun, funny show that works well. It has a lot of silliness. It's not perfect, but I think it works well. I think it's for what it is, it works really well. It's getting it would be a show. It would be a premise and a show that I think could last multiple seasons if they gave it a chance. Obviously, it's has its order, and apparently it already got cut short, so it probably won't go multiple seasons, even if they did do that, because apparently it's not doing well ratings wise. But it's still a fun show worth checking out. Detectives of Sonam Girls High School. The other show that is coming.
Can I say before you move on?
Yes.
2 things I just learned. Babysitter's Club had nothing to do with solving mysteries.
Nah, I think you're talking about Sweet Valley High. Maybe, and I'm not even sure that's true.
God damn it! You know how many years of my life I thought the Babysitter's Club was about a bunch of girls who started out as babysitters and then started a fucking detective agency. Like, this is years of my life taken away. Damn. Oh, I need therapy now.
All right, the boy needs therapy. But moving on from that revelation, Sweden Laundry. Sweden Laundry is okay. Another possibly silly premise. It's kind of silly, but a lot of humor, a lot of heart, and a lot of fun. It's the main character is Kim Bum. She's not very well treated by her family. She kind of longs to find her own thing, and her thing was that she's really good at laundry. Like, it just kind of was her thing. She kind of found a bit of relief cleaning clothes and being really good at it, so she starts her own laundromat that people mistake for a cafe early on because it's kind of her personal, like, laundromat that she does emergency, cleaning with. But here's the twist. So she was inspired by her grandma, who passed away, recently in the show. What she finds out as soon as she opens the laundromat, is that she now has a special superpower. In that when she gets certain customers' laundry and she touches it, she gets a vision as to what their current problems are. And then, like, a little glimpse of a future scene hinting of how they're going to solve it. It is a somewhat silly premise. It is a silly premise. I admit that. But
You're
it is
to my therapy now. I want you to.
But it is a really fun show. It is a really fun show. It's funny. The characters are fun and ridiculous. They work well together. It's pretty episodic. This one is definitely problem of the week. She touches one person's laundry. She finds out what their problem is. She solves it within that one episode. And then other things are, established around her. And it works well. And it's actually pretty fun and funny. And the characters are fun. And I think it's worth checking out. It is getting into its end game. It's at episode 14 of 16. So they stopped being a weekly show. It started building up to its end game. But it's definitely a show that if it had a chance to do it, could have been a multi-season show where it was just like this, every week there's a new person who has problems. And then also it deals with more of those hot button issues, stalking, abuse, adultery, things like that. But it's in a comedic way. And I think it works really well. Sweden Laundry. So both shows worth checking out. Does have that little bit of a silly premise, understandably so. But despite that, work really well. All right, some music. Before we get into headlines, some music.
Music.
First off, a really cool thing. EXID. Of course, we know EXID is up and down. We are. They actually got a chance to do a CF They could do, to get them endorsements. They did a commercial for LG U Plus service and did a version of We Are where they substituted in lyrics about upstreams and downstreams and having faster download speeds.
Can I say, and you know how we love to talk about pre-show things. This thought to me is psychotic on how famous this song has become well after its release.
Yeah.
Like,
it's all one fan cam, and then suddenly everybody is on that We Are bandwagon.
Right. It's like the spin on that is so crazy because they pretty much thought like, okay, that was done, didn't go so well, moving on to the next thing. And they, had all these other things lined up that they kind of were just like, put the brakes on and like, oh, that other song is really popular now. Let's milk the fuck out of it. And not to their dismay.
Yeah, it's I think it's worth doing. I think it's fantastic. I think it's nice seeing them finally get their due. Especially after having to move agencies, being away for like 2 years, not being able to do anything. Hani has joked on variety shows that there were times where they were so bored that they weren't busy at all. They had to lie to their parents over like Lunar New Year that they were busy, and like they were just sitting around their dorm in just like waiting around for hoping somebody would cast them for something, and so bored that they invented the foot selfie stick. Like Hani invented came up with the idea of using her foot as a selfie stick long before selfie sticks became a thing, and so that her hands could be both in the shot. That's how bored they were. But now they're getting their due. And one person is really cool that's getting their due is Sulli. She's been getting recognition and getting opportunities to show what she can do vocally because she's a fantastic singer. She's been to the point where she debuted before Big Bang. She debuted before 21, before Girls' Generation, before Big Bang. Like she was in a group 2MB that debuted in May of 2006. And she's been in the business professionally for 8 years now, going on 9 years in a few months. So she's now finally starting to get like her dues, finally getting her dues back. And I find it funny that I wonder how many people that she runs across while she's in an EXID know that she is their sunbae. Like, it's like, mm-hmm. I don't know if she's somebody that would remind them. It's like, hey, just so you know, I came into this business 3 years before you did, so how about you go ahead and call me somebody? Yeah. But she doesn't seem like the kind of person to do that. But it's crazy to think that she's been in the business longer than the amount of people that, like, for a minute, like she was there before them. She was there before Tiara. She was there before all of these people. And now she's getting her dues, which is kind of crazy. I don't know. What was your thoughts? Just on that.
It wasn't as crazy to me because it's the thing. Like you always find out these things like way later on in life that like, oh man, this person used to be in this thing or that thing or something,
Yeah.
And I think the more crazy thing, for me is the fact that she got that second chance and it turned out to be really, really good.
Yeah. I think I'm glad it turned out to be so good for her, cause she's got chops. Uber talented unknown singers, you always find out, oh yeah, she sang guide vocals to like these 15, 30, 30 other songs. So like, it's like the life of a super talented singer. But it's nice to see Sulli get her due. But yeah, but moving on, a couple other cool releases that I want to talk about. Rainbow is back. The Rainbow, the group proper, not Rainbow Black, but Rainbow, with their song Black Swan. And it is Rainbow as a group entirely, but it's definitely styled after more of a Rainbow Black-esque. And not a lot of colors. It is a very cool song. People have been a little bit split on like the chorus and how well it builds up and things like that. But overall, it is a very cool song. It has a very good economy of sound. It doesn't throw in every loop and Fruity Loops into one produced song. It keeps things simple. It builds things up really well. The chorus isn't as catchy as you would want it to be, but it is interesting and it provides a nice contrast. And overall, it's a pretty cool song. What did you think of Rainbow's long-awaited comeback?
I remember talking about them, and I remember liking them somewhat. Excuse me. But I think I kind of went into this when you sent me like, oh, hey, Rainbow's back. Like, I kind of clicked on it and expected it to be really lackluster. And I think at the moment, like, I wasn't like full on into it, and I kind of skipped through it a bit. But like, when I listened to it earlier today, I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I thought it was a really good comeback. I kind of like this sepia tone look that they're going with. Of this
black
very
and white,
yeah, very dark tone thing. Really like, because it's not a sexy concept. It's not full on a dark concept, even though you could say it's a really dark, mysterious kind of sexy concept. But I think it's just like a really cool artsy kind of, high fashion thing.
Yeah. The visuals are pretty on point. They all look lovely. Jaekyung looks lovely as always. Hey, the visuals work really well. The song is interesting. The music video doesn't do a whole lot. It's not a very complex music video, but it's very much a dance in a box, but it does it well. I think that's been the sentiment when people have been reviewing it, is that the music videos set up really economically well. With a good variety, using little touches to create a nice variety between the different sets. And it works well. And I love that, Jisoo looks really cool because Jisoo is just a cool character. Like the fact that on her like Naver blog, she has her annual visit to the Kidult Toy Fair in Korea, which is all like the toys and Gundams and like Gundams and like all like the classic toy stuff, and she'll like always get her stash of toys that she takes from there, that she buys from there, and she just like seems like a really cool, smart, interesting personality, and I definitely, if they have more quality songs like this, then they might be a group I'll start following more intensely. I
can agree with that sentiment.
Mm-hmm. All right, so one other cool new, a couple of other cool, interesting releases, but one cool new release, Jamez, who we know of from being featured on Ziako's recent song, Well Done, released his own track and his own video for Drinks Up featuring Wasa of Mamamoo, my girl, Wasa. And it's an interesting song and video, to say the least.
Yeah.
I think I like it. It works well, but it's definitely a little bit different. It's just a little bit different.
It's what words could we use? Eclectic, eccentric,
drunk,
and kind of out there. Yeah. I understand. I full on understand what they were going for. And I kind of love the feel of the song, even though I didn't really like the song overall. Which I know it's a weird thing to say, but I like kind of where the song was taking me, and I love the visuals to go along with it. But at the same time, they didn't super duper grab me. Like there were just a lot of issues that at points would take me out of it. But other than that, like it's something at least worth checking out in this kind of hip hop category that we're always talking about. That like there are these different things that you can see and hear.
Yeah. But it definitely goes through a journey, like a wild bender. And I had to struggle to find Wasa's part, but it was an interesting song and video, and definitely thought it was worth bringing up and telling people to check out. And before we go into the headlines, I want to throw in another cool song video that I think is worth checking out. Esna, the kind of the behind the scenes personality and singer that has been kind of making headway, former YouTuber akin to Megan Lee and Eric Nam and whatnot, who was the person, one of the people behind the, has writing credit for this song, the Korean version, by Soyu and Jung Go, did her own version of Some, the song we named the comeback of 2014, when it comes to solo and etc. Did her own really cool version of it, a different sound, just a piano, and just her like singing, and it's a little more soulful rather than like this bouncy pop tune. So it's definitely definitely worth checking out as something different, a different variation. And I kind of dug it. What did you think of it?
I really like the song, but the thing I just thought of is this is basically still another in the studio video.
Yeah. There's another like we're in the studio. There's putting the song together.
This is like the live recording, but it's still the in the studio thing. Like I think we need to like start taking a tally on these things of these we're live recording videos, like pretty funny.
Yeah. But yeah, Esna, really cool voice, and I like this version, this different feel on the song as well. Really dug it. But yeah, now we move on. So that was all of what's new. We're gonna move on to a pretty meaty headline segment, kind of a heady, meaty headline segment. So go ahead. I don't know what words I'm using. Go ahead and join us over there. Howdy, folks. Welcome back. We're here on our headline segment. You can tell that it's our headline segment because it says so right under here.
Yeah, this is our some of our lovely new art that was created for us by a good friend, which I forgot what their email is, and I'll fucking say it in the next episode. I'll pump it in every fucking segment. I'll pump it until it can't be pumped anymore.
Pump it hard. But yeah, we're gonna talk about some topics. We got a lot to talk about, and some big topics, big things, big subject matter I'll talk about. But let's talk first. So, let me paint a scene. I was at work today. Today's Tuesday. We're actually recording a little later than we usually do. If I manage to get this tomorrow, we'll get this up tomorrow, Wednesday, I'm going to give myself a medal. But this is Tuesday. So today I was at work. I was in what we refer to over our, in amongst the people at work, the back office. I was in the back office, and what, as is wont to do when you are in the back office, I had my phone, sitting with my phone, just minding my business. And I look up on Reddit and I find that GI, a girl is a global icon, we're going to have a comeback, today. And it was like, it was going to come out, noon Korean time, which is around 10 o'clock, us time. It was going to come out, new song. They were going to come back. They had a really cool logo. I was excited. I was like, I finished my work shift. When I was going on my way home, I Skyped Kaz. Letting him know, hey, the GI's coming back in an hour and 15 minutes, It's going to be a new track. It's like, and when I was excited, I kept keeping track, and when we were getting ready, I was like, refreshing things and finding out about things, and, checking the GI International Twitter account and whatnot. And then, this headline kind of landed on my lap, and suddenly it got less excited. GI's Autumn and OneKet reported to have filed lawsuit against agency.
Yeah.
Although GI's new single release is today, it seems fans are in for some bad news. We're afraid we've got some bad news. As word has come that some of the members are actually in a legal battle with their agency, Simtong Entertainment. According to an exclusive by Herald Pop, some of the members have requested the agency to terminate the contracts. Original member Autumn decided to leave the group last year and is in the midst of a lawsuit to terminate her contract with the agency. And another original member, OneKet, is now also in the process of filing against the agency. Member Hyun also left last year, but her leave was agreed upon by both her and the agency. What makes her so special? It's said that Autumn and OneKet are asking for their contracts to be terminated due to the conflicts that arose during Hyun's leave and the delays that came with their album release. They are insisting that it is due to the shortcoming of the agency that such problems occurred. Simtong, however, are of the position that Autumn and OneKet have violated their contracts and that the agency has invested a lot of money into the members' training, housing, and promotions. They're told, we're currently in a meeting. We will soon release our official statement. We haven't heard anything as far as official statement. I could go to the All K-Poop front page and find out maybe something else, but as far as we know, they haven't released an official statement. And I listened to a snippet on Melon. The song is okay, but I really don't care. No OneKet.
Yeah, no, two of their founding members, as we like to say in this, which we didn't even we had been speculating a lot about the fact that we had not heard anything from a group that came out with a really strong imprint in GI Global Icon, and we had kept wondering why we had not heard anything from them and why nothing was going on with this group, and this is the shoe that drops when they're supposed to be dropping a new record that the two of their members are trying to get out of the group and suing them. And then it also made me think about the fact that we haven't heard anything from Alphabet in months, so it just seems like there's really something shady going on over at this label.
Simtong Entertainment, yeah. I knew that two members had left. I knew that Adam and the other one had left. And I figured, well, there's three members left. They might have restocked with another vocalist or whatever. We'll find out how it came about. How things. But this one's with OneKet leaving, at this point, I'm going to consider this group disbanded. And as far as I'm concerned, they are dead to me.
Right. So, at this point, I'm trying to think what is being released. What did we wait almost 2 hours for it? Well, half of that hour I was playing fucking League, but what is it that we're waiting for? You know?
Yeah, it was a song called Echo. I listened to a little bit of it on Melon.
Yeah,
it's okay, whatever. It was that little snippet. It's nothing special. It was kind of a ballady. It's kind of like the song, but it's like, I don't care. OneKet's not going to be in the group anymore, so I don't care.
And no track featuring Doki.
No. That's really all that matters.
I started listening to like a lot of stuff that I've like kind of I have in my backlog of things, and I'm just like, every so often, like every third or fourth like track, Doki's on it.
Doki's trying to take over that guest rapper role that Bumkey lost.
But he's been quietly, like, I think he was the number 2 guest rapper on everything. Like if you didn't get Bumkey, you got Doki, right? Yeah. And then like now it's rising since Bumkey's gone. Like it's just like Doki is taking that spot. So like, and now I'm trying to figure out who the next guy is, and I think it might be Jay Park. Like, Jay Park is like the guy who's always on a track as well.
Yeah. But that aside, we were gonna miss GI. They really had a lot of promise. It makes us sad.
Like we really like group. Go listen to the episode where we reviewed the album, their mini album that they had put out. Like, we were super excited. We were super into it. We loved the concept. We dug everything about it. And we just thought it was going to be something that was. We didn't think it was going to dominate, but we thought it was going to really hold a place.
A little void, like that void that we've been looking for, of like, you know, that fierce girl group. Which there are some candidates out there. In different forms, you know, like Mamamoo, like I said before. But you know, GR was our hope. But hopefully this works out well for OneKet. If they can reach an amicable conclusion, and she can find, you know, a different path in her career, being OneKet, I will support her 1,000%.
Yeah,
we know this show loves OneKet. OneKet is our bias.
Yeah.
our GI bias.
She was really cool. So it's just, I want to see more from her. I know there have been a few little things here and there, but I would definitely want to get a chance to see more stuff from her, and hopefully we do.
Mm-hmm. All right. So quickly, another. We're bringing the mood down even further. Bob Girls disbands after Jina diagnosed with encephalitis. Damn it.
Yeah.
That's ahead. Most people understandably weren't paying much attention to Bob Girls, but it was odd when 2 of the members unfollowed everybody on Instagram, which I didn't know, and were leaving messages like, I'm alright and stuff of that nature. What all makes a lot more sense now that Chrome Entertainment announced that the group would be disbanding because member Jina was diagnosed with encephalitis. For those that don't know, that's swelling of the brain. And it's pretty bad and can have some bad side effects. The statement, we learned about Gina's health issue around December. After being tested at the hospital, we learned that she had developed encephalitis. It's not severe, but it is something that does take consistent care and treatment. Although it's fine when leading a normal daily life, the doctor's opinion was that it might be difficult to carry on the life of the singer. The other members also felt bad about continuing promotions as Bob grows while Jina is unwell. The contracts have been terminated, and we made this decision in hopes that these friends will be able to continue on celebrity activities soon under a better company. Talk about how the disease is fatal, but Chrome pretty much handled things about as well as they did. They pretty much let them go. No debt responsibilities. No holding them, on for anything. No debt, no anything. Just free and clear. Give them a chance to find new agencies, find new career paths. But it is kind of a bummer. It is kind of a bummer.
So there's a few ways you could take this, right? Like, you could take this as like, wow, that's really cool of them. Or you could take this as like, they kind of washed their hands of these girls.
Yeah, on some level, they weren't super successful, and a girl group is hard to manage. I think it was a balance thing. They could have done a lot of things, but the fact that they washed their hands, but at the very least they did it in a way that left them have the freedom that they had. The fact that they absolved them of their debt is the step. I think there is a benefit to them, but I think on some level they also Chrome just tends to do things the right way. And yes, it does benefit them to kind of, wash their hands of the kind of the group, especially considering that Jina was going to need to take care of her health. But at the very least, they're letting they're letting her take care of her health, and they're letting the group kind of find their own path. And they had a really great statement, where they kind of go into detail, and I linked it. I'm going to link it in the show notes so people can read it. But they go into pretty good detail and it's into what happened and their thoughts, and they wish everyone well. So, they definitely, I think it was definitely in their best interest to kind of, let the group go, just because it wasn't a big money maker, and the fact that there was going to be a big hiatus. But yeah, I think it's a bummer,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big bummer. But we wish the Bob girls, wherever their paths lead them, well, and especially Jina, because she's adorable, and she was fantastic, and she's a fantastic ping pong player. And hopefully she finds her path, maybe professional ping pong. I don't know. But moving on. Yeah. Moving on. All right, so this is going to be where we get really serious. All right, so this is one headline. We found out. So Kim Hyun Joong. Are you familiar with this fella named Kim Hyun Joong?
Let me look at him. I looked at this, but I forgot to.
He was one of the people that starred on Boys Over Flowers. He's started in other things. He's basically one of your classic flower boy actor guys. And also, he's a piece of shit. And one of the reasons we know he's a piece of shit, is because he has, back in, say, what was it, August of last year, I want to say?
Yeah.
Further along last year, September, I want to say, he brought charges brought against him by an ex-girlfriend, claiming of assault, and then through multiple backs and forths, he admitted to hitting her once, admitted to beating her once, and then admitted separately to one incident that resulted in the ex-girlfriend's ribs being broken, ostensibly saying that he was practicing martial arts, quote unquote. So, which nobody believes. He previously admitted to beating his girlfriend once and said that he broke her ribs practicing martial arts in a separate incident. And now, all right, so now we got a report recently. Let's gather ourselves. The first headline on this, we got the report recently that he was reunited with the ex-girlfriend because they were expecting a child. This is the headline that showed up this weekend. It's a headline that I was teasing with on Fanny Pack about the fact that we were going to talk about abuse dynamics, and it's the headline that got me infuriated all weekend, considering the fact that it seemed like she was going to be forced to marry this guy, marry her abuser, is because she was pregnant with his child. And then Dispatch included a timeline of events which involved the indictment, her submitting the complaint to the police, him trying to get back into her good graces, him, manipulating himself back into her life and back into her world, and then getting her pregnant. And and then them finding out about it, and the assault case wraps up, the fine being issued, and it's all just so it's very much she essentially used the apology negotiation process to manipulate her and get back into her pants, which and of course even just that got her a lot of crap and got her victim blamed, of course, because it's the internet, and basically blaming her. Korean international netizens are basically blaming her for getting back with him, not understanding how abuser dynamics work and the cycle of abuse works, and how trapped an abusee can feel. Even somebody in the comments provided handy little article on the 10 reasons why women don't leave their abusers. Mm-hmm. Things like, and we'll look at them, things like women may lack social support. One of the hallmarks of an abusive relationship is an abuser gradually isolating the victim from a support network, including friends and family. Since it happens over the time, often victims of domestic violence don't even realize what's happening until it's too late. They have limited financial resources. She's not a celebrity. He is. They may have limited work experience, child custody, not being able to take a pet, things like that. But of course, that kind of logic will never get in the way of Team Oppa Didn't Mean It. Team Breezy has got nothing on Team Oppa Didn't Mean It. I will, and then we got that headline. We did, however, get the follow-up headline where Keys says that they are not getting married, that they couldn't confirm the pregnancy reports. The ex-girlfriend side launched back with saying that yes, she is pregnant, and yes, they sent their team proof and information about the pregnancy, and we're simply contacting them to let them know, but that they weren't, their ex-girlfriend was avoiding meeting with Kim Hyun Joong, and of course people were completely confused by why she wouldn't want to meet with her abuser. I wonder why. And then it goes back and forth, and there's these great write-ups from Asian Junkie. This is where me and IATFB of Asian Junkie, we're simpatico. We see eye to eye because great write-ups that pretty much say exactly articulate well exactly what I've been thinking. I highly recommend reading up on them. And the delusion that is out there from Team Oppa Didn't Mean It. Kaz. Want to dive in? What are your thoughts looking at all this situation, and what are your hopes for it going forward?
It's hard to say when you're not right there in those situations. It's really, really hard to say what happened. I mean, he definitely did bad, that there's no way around that he definitely did something bad. He owned up to it, but he definitely didn't own up to it right away. He tried to see if it would go, see if it would go away first. The fact that he got back with her seems really strange. It could be the manipulation of somebody who is possessive and all those kinds of things. And it just makes you think a lot about him when you read it that way. But like you said, you don't know all the things, but with the things that you do know, it just does make him seem like a really scummy person.
The narrative fits well. I mean, we don't know everything for sure, but the narrative fits well. We those that know the narrative of abuse and domestic abuse and psychological abuse, and like, the fact that he admitted to hitting her. And if you know anything about, the cycles of abuse, you know that the hit isn't something that just happens. You don't just like, happy relation, slap. There's other things that are happening before that, things on a psychological level, and then, then it gets physical. And I'm glad. I was extremely worried about the idea because, those of us that know a little bit of how the kind of things are in South Korea and have learned and have read and have listened from people that live there know that there is a big stigma on being a single mom. Like, single mothers have a huge stigma to them, and it's sad. And we knew, that the possibility was there that she would have to get married to her abuser because she was pregnant, because being a single mom might not be an option, and that their families would just decide for them. But it looks like maybe she has the support structure to be able to say, actually, no. And she's avoiding him, and rightfully so. She's avoiding being in the room with him, and I think she should never have to be in the room with him if, the accusations are true. She does not need to ever be in the same room with him. That, let her, if she needs to testify in court, that's fine. Whatever. I think the case was resolved anyways. So this is all just civil stuff, and that's all stuff that their lawyers can handle. That's all stuff that their lawyers can handle. Their lawyers can negotiate. Let them be on their own, in their own lives. Especially considering that he is soon to enlist in the army, supposedly. So he's going to be gone for 2 years anyways. So this could work out for the better. As best as you could say when, somebody's going to have to raise a kid with, whose father is a man that physically abused her.
Yeah.
But as sad as a situation that is, maybe a silver, a light at the end of the tunnel, on the idea that maybe she wouldn't be forced into marrying this guy, and then she'll get a chance to just raise the kid.
It's a little sad because it would definitely be a lot easier if this was kind of almost anywhere else in the world. There are other places definitely where you have the kind of the same stigma and the same kind of it's your kid together, so you gotta raise them together, thing. But it that's the part to me that is rough,
Yeah.
That's the part that gets me, is the whole, that Korean thing of just well, you made that kid together, so you gotta raise it, together. And when they mean together, they mean fucking together, and
your parents will decide the wedding date and, where, you'll figure out, they'll buy a house for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll live there, together.
So hopefully the people that care will make the right decisions,
Yeah, hopefully the people that care will make the right decisions, because, how it is. It's they definitely need to be separate, because it's that dynamic, that abuser dynamic, the manipulation, the working over of the person, the lessening of the person, to kind of make them feel trapped, can be so scary. And I'm glad that she's free. I'm also, we could go on and on about team Oppa Didn't Mean It, but honestly, they're just not, this is not worth our time. It's
I'm trying to be serious about this, and every time you say that, it cracks me up.
Yeah, I know. It is. It's like it is ridiculous because it's ridiculous.
Team Oppa didn't mean it.
Yeah, like I said, Team Breezy's gonna have to get on their level. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
There's also. Can we just say there's also some fucking shade in this article?
Which one? The last one?
The bit at the very end.
Yeah.
on a sorta related note, on a I'm throwing shade note.
Yeah. Like either way, no matter what the outcome of this specific part of the overall events ends up being, it's important to remember that he's still a piece of shit.
No. There's a part in here at the very end where they're just like, on the unrelated note. What the fuck is up with the rest of the K-pop outlets?
Yes, the prominent international K-pop outlets sounding so thrilled about the. Yeah, this is the first article where we found about the pregnancy and the possibility of them being together. The title of all K-pop's article was Kim Hyun Joong, rumored to be reconciled with ex-girlfriend and becoming a dad.
Yeah.
Yay! Rumors say that idol Kim Hyun Joong is expected to become a baby daddy in September. Exclamation part, because this is exciting and positive. And even the Korea Boo article, who at this point, Korea Boo's kind of dumb. Korea Boo is like the. But I think I've said it before on the show, and I'll say it again. They've become the BuzzFeed of K-pop. Because it's all listicles and poorly written articles and, like, dumb headlines. Found so many mistakes on Koreaboo, it makes me sad. Which is, if it was a personal blog, I wouldn't care, but it's they're working out deals with, like, fucking Dispatch and all these people where they're being a legitimate news outlet, but they still kind of are being amateurish. But whatever. Hooray, abuse. But nice shade. That's why I love Asian Junkie. Slanging that shade like nobody's business. Speaking of Asian Junkie articles, moving on to a different abusive relationship. Sulli's biggest and only fan site closed, which is awesome because the admin is crazy. This is something I had never heard before and I did not know anything about, but apparently many people in the K-pop community were fully aware of, and when they found about this headline, they were like, yay! Because of, well, here we'll find out the reasons. FX's Sulli basically only has one fan site in Korea, run by a netizen named Jinnabit, who is famous for being extremely dedicated to Sulli, supposedly being close to her, and also coming off as fucking crazy. We'll get to this later. In any case, after a bit of a Twitter rant, Jinnabit closed the fan site supposedly for good. And then there's a bunch of comments about her from Netizen Buzz. The netizen reaction seemed to this sympathizes with the fan site admin, even inferring that she's being gracious for not dropping bombs on Sulli's private life. How nice. That in part reflects their own feelings about the fandom, and it also reflects the general sentiment about Sulli at the moment. You know, people blaming her for the FX hiatus and all of that, and her getting with Choiza. They're not mad about the relationship. They're just mad about being betrayed. Whatever. However, even the favorable descriptions of Jinnabit by the netizens themselves, you can see this is sort of creepy, right? She looked at Sulli as a daughter-type figure, obsessed over her since the day she debuted at 15 back when Jinnabit was 25, reserved flowers and cakes for Sulli until she was 60, then threw a fit and stopped supporting Sulli for quote-unquote reasons, coming soon. And there's also a few comments alluding to other Sulli fans disliking Jinnabit. Why would that be exactly? Well, Jinnabit has the only Sulli fan site because she has a well-known history of going to whatever necessary lengths to make damn sure she has the only fan site for Sulli. And this is something that I saw in like the Reddit discussion, was people commenting how she would like harass these other fan sites and then use the fact that she was the only Sulli fan site to kind of make it seem that she was only, she wasn't popular. So she got really close to her as the only, Sulli fan site runner. Which sounds kind of familiar. Almost like we had a little bit of an article related to a different thing. Let's see. I think I read something that makes me think of this. Oh yeah. Women may lack social support. One of the hallmarks of an abusive relationship is an abuser isolating the victim from her support network, including friends and family. Since it happens over time, often victims of domestic violence don't even realize what's happening until it's too late.
Did you just spin this domestic abuse?
Abusive relationship is an abusive relationship, no matter, a rose is a rose,
No, this is crazy on level 9.
Yeah. And then they straight up compared her to Kathy Bates in Misery. It's normal. If you're creeped out right now, don't worry. It's normal to be disturbed by somebody who reminds you of a real life version of Kathy Bates. Rather, it is interesting to look at that, and she's apparently still continuing to try to spread rumors. She shut down another Sulli fan site and made, to the point where they felt they had to apologize to her. Damn. They like to Jinnabit herself was like, damn, like.
That is work. Like she put in work to harass these people out of their business. Like she mobbed them. She went and kicked in the glass in their shop and then said, "You should pay me for protection." And they were like, "We should." You're right.
Yeah, and then like this is starting to fall on members of Red Velvet and other things that she's trying to spin her anti-Sulli rants into, being considerate of the other members, even though she's long spent time shitting on the other members and hating on them, It's all very delusional. And I said before we started that, and it's a comment that somebody else has pointed out, that it feels like she could end up being another Yolanda. Like,
oh goodness, yeah,
and that's scary.
Yeah.
Like, Selena, we still miss you, Selena. We don't want to end up with a Selena situation. But this is kind of scary. Like, I hopefully it doesn't turn into. Hopefully, she is actually going away. Though people assume that she's just kind of throwing a tantrum and she could do another crazy thing, but. Hopefully she is going away because she's kind of crazy. She's kind of crazy. A little bit. Choke 'em. All right. So before we finish, I don't want to end on crazy. I want to end on a couple of fun articles. One interesting. We like to periodically do this whenever the girl group rankings start to come out. We start to play our own fantasy idol sports, thing, and start to keep track of how things are going. Our boys at Sports Chosen have brought out another girl group rankings. Now 2015 girl group rankings. 21 in Girls' Generation occupy shaky first place, quote unquote, which is interesting. We'll talk about that. Miss A and FX take a hit. They haven't promoted in a while, of course. Media outlet Sports Chosen.
I want to say this really quick, right? We're in 2015, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're into a new year. And I think it's one of these things, and then a lot of this has been talked about a lot, like, you know, when like all the Oscar shit going on and all this kind of stuff, right? You gotta stop ranking people in like, oh, you know, like what's gonna happen this year based on previous things, because I don't even really think to it. Like, I liked Crush. I really liked Crush. I don't really think it was good enough for them to be ranked first place this year going in, you know? And I don't really have too many feels on the Girls' Generation album that was released last year. I thought it was really good. I know we kind of compared and contrast both of them. We did our kind of fandom headbutt in a sense with those, but I don't know. I think kind of Miss A and FX kind of had better showings that year. I know FX didn't really get to show as well as they would have, but I think a lot of the work that they put in last year is starting to pay off for them a little bit this year.
Miss A didn't promote last year. I think Hush was like the previous year, wasn't it? It was the previous year.
Oh, maybe it was.
Promoted.
Okay.
Yeah, they didn't promote it to 2014. There was a lot of just Suzy doing her thing and Min doing her thing, and Wang Fei being unutilized for God knows what reason, despite being the best looking member of the group. Come on, give Fei some love. But let's look at the rankings. Of course, they kind of set this up. It seems like it's more of an ongoing thing, like a fluid, change it as it goes along, kind of ranking based on career, I guess. You would say. So you have the Unsurmountable Wall, which is Girls' Generation 21 is Sistar. And we remember where they jumped into that spot. We have, in between the two rankings, we have Girls' Day making some headway. Moving up half a rank right in between. So they're on their way to that Insurmountable Wall, supposedly. We have A-Pink at the National Star level, jumping up a spot. We have, I think one of the biggest jumps was just AOA jumping into that almost National Star level. And it's all thanks to Jaemin's hip hop credibility. We have the socialite level, with Secret, 4 Minute, FX, and Kata. Kata, being able to kind of stay strong this year despite the member changes, but bringing in Youngji, having a solid comeback with Mamma Mia. Youngji was a personality that people at first questioned why she was in the group, but then realized, she works well, she's funny, and she's fun. And FX kind of taking a hit because of the abbreviated comeback, even though the album was fantastic. It was the abbreviated comeback. So, FX kind of being, dropping down from National Star level to Socialite level. We have a new entry, EXID, jumping in at the Mania level. Kind of, right in there with Miss A and Nine Muses. Miss A, of course, dropping down because they haven't had a comeback in a while. They are coming back this year, so they could kind of push themselves up a bit. And then Nine Muses just recently came back. They are constantly changing members, so it's hard for them to gain momentum. We have the popular Maginot line. Tiara, who, is sitting there, despite the fact, Tiara probably doesn't care. At this point, they're kind of doing their own thing, and just the fact that they're one of the only idol group, I think the only girl group, idol group, that has their original debut lineup at this point. Which is crazy. Then we had Dalsha Bet and Crayon Pop kind of dropping down the level from the Mania level. Just because Crayon Pop hasn't really promoted a lot in a while, like since just doing little things here and there. And then Dalsha Bet hasn't promoted since Big Baby Baby, but they are coming back soon. And then Halloween is just kind of being there. And we have, last but not least, the nominee level, we have Bestie, Mamamoo, Red Velvet, G-Friend, and Sonamu. So some interesting rankings. Like it's very much like the fluid. This is how they are at this point, based on everything. So we'll have to see how things change once comebacks happen, and if Miss A bounces back, hopefully.
I think they can. I feel like Miss A does a lot of cool things. I want to put my money on 4 Minute. Like, I think that's where I'm going to put my money. Yeah,
they might be jumping up a little bit just based on crazy.
It's funny. A lot of other people are kind of taking crazy to be like, which I kind of picked up a little bit, was just like, it's too much, not them. And I'm like, no, it's
like more like Hot Issue. It's more like Hot Issue, more like Hyuna's Change, more like.
Also, I had somebody say something really disrespectful, which was Hyuna sounded like CL on that track.
Oh my!
I was like, how dare you?
How dare you?
How dare you?
Jian was fantastic. God damn, I love that track. All right. So one last little headline, just so we can leave on some silliness. Time to quit your job. Company in Japan now hiring for the position of Ninja Master. Do you ever get a little down in the dumps immediately following a major holiday?
Make them up. Yes.
Do the day after Christmas, for example. Many people miss the goodwill and excitement they felt just 24 hours before. That's how we're feeling right now, since we got almost a full 12 months to wait until the next Ninja Day. Really, wouldn't it be great if we could keep the spirit of Ninja Day in our hearts all year long?
Yeah.
Actually, there's a way to do just that. As one company in Japan has put out an honest-to-goodness help wanted ad for a Ninja Master.
What?
Twitter user Hojinga recently shared the job posting he came across on a government-run employment website. While it's likely most visitors to the site are searching for office work or perhaps positions in the service or industrial sectors, one lucky candidate can walk away with gainful employment as a ninja dojo instructor.
Who could it be? Could it be me?
The employer is listed as Koka Kanko Kaihatsu Kabushiki Gaisha. I'm in love with the Coca.
You work for the KKKK.
KKKK. One extra K. 100% convinced it's not a cover for.
You forget that last K though.
Yeah,
just like
we're not 100% convinced it's not a cover for a clan of shadow warriors. The organization's name translates to Koka Tourism Development Incorporated.
That doesn't sound like a front.
According to the posting, the selected candidate will be working in Shiga Prefecture's Koka City. I'm in love with the Koka. The same town where last week some civil servants performed their duties dressed as shinobi in honor of the local area's ninja heritage. Specifically, the professional ninja will be plying his or her trade at the Koka Ninjutsu Village, which houses a ninja-themed museum, ninja house equipped with trapdoors and other contrivances, and a ninja training center where visitors can receive instruction in one of 9 different shadow arts. And then it shows pictures that look like Takeshi's castle, or some shit. Are you applying to be a ninja master?
I think this is just a new Takeshi's Castle. I think that's what happened. I think we're being trolled. They say it's a job. You're really just going to be falling into a fucking water pit every day.
Yeah.
While their camera's running.
Yeah, well, right. Takeshi laughs at you.
But no, I'll apply to be a fucking ninja warrior. What are we talking about? Up to $8.50 an hour? Hell yeah, that's a little more than I make now.
Exactly.
I'll run around and be a ninja.
Yeah, like the lime green pajamas, and trying to walk on the water. Fantastic. Can't ask for more.
Get a little apartment right outside of fucking Akihabara. Yeah, let's do that. I don't know. Wait, hold on. Where is this place? Because that might be a fucking trek every day.
Yeah. Shiga Prefecture. You're gonna have to figure out where Shiga Prefecture is. Koka City. Which is a funny name in and of itself. Koka City.
Actually, you probably have to.
I think I technically live in Koka City, but in kind of a different way. But that's something different. But,
you probably have to live in the village.
Yeah, which is fine. But yeah, could be people out there, aspiring ninjas. Apply, and you shall find your destiny. Just if you see Naruto, kick him in the balls for Kaz.
Yeah, please. Because I'm so over it. So done with it.
But yeah, that's it for another fantastic episode of Hallyujuku, where we confirm that Koka is just outside of Kyoto, and say, Kaz, what have you got going on in your neck of the woods?
Nothing, because I got so much work on my plate and so many things to finish that I literally want nothing. I want for nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the normal things about .me/King Kaz on Twitter, and that's really it. Just
stuff under his.
Let me finish things.
Yeah,
just let me finish things.
Stuff under his name, King Kaz, about .me/King Kaz. You can see my stuff. I'm at PDRave, about .me/PDRave for all my stuff. The show is Hallyujuku, Hallyujuku.com, KPopPodcast.com. Just check out the show. Follow us, subscribe, share, like, do the things, follow things. Until next time. Hasta los huevos. Bye. Adios. Fighting.
Give it to me straight, Doctor. Give it to me straight, Doctor. Why, I think you're crazy. Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.